What's going on, everybody? This is Tony Tucker and Joe Morley here for Mock Draft Monday. And I know you're probably asking yourself, do these idiots know that it's Tuesday? We do. We had life, jobs, kids, dinners, all sorts of things. We couldn't get to it yesterday, but we still wanted to get in a mock draft, talk with our friends online, and get a little practice in before the season comes. I know that I added another league yesterday. I think I'm at like 3 with the possibility of like 6 for the year, which is 5 was supposed to be my limit. We'll see. How you doing, Joe Morley?
I'm doing good. Happy Monday to you, Tony, or Tuesday, whatever it is, but I'm going to pretend it's still Monday. My body probably thinks it's Monday, right? But I don't know. I'm ready to go. We've done a couple of these mock drafts. We've seen different, the first mock draft we saw a bunch of wide receivers go. Then it started working back where we started seeing wide receiver or the running backs go again. So it's going to be interesting to see how it does it. And then we put a couple of computers in there in here on this one so we can see what, so we're not having people just draft all Raiders today.
Yeah, that would be nice if we could get that. What's going on, Inky? Boda, damn, that guy at 1.08 is looking fine. I'm actually at 1.07, so but I appreciate it. Thank you, Boda. Really appreciate that.
Fantasy football therapist, Johnny Talk Sports, easy money, same old sports. Boda's in here. Albert Mari Quinn, one of our followers who's always around. He hopped in here. Of course, Boda and myself. We'll be starting. What do you want to say? In about 1 more minute, Tony. I'll hit the clock and we'll start it up.
Yeah, you can actually fire it up whenever you want, whenever you're ready. One of the things that I do want to talk about, and anybody in the chat, or if you're watching this on a replay, is the idea of looking at playoff schedules for players that you might be drafting and how much of a factor that you put in when you are drafting. I haven't really looked at that for players yet, but it's usually around this time when I start to early August, I start looking at people's schedules, and here's what I think. Last year, I didn't put enough stock into it. I was just like, I'm just going to draft the best available players. And then as the season went on, I felt like I needed to make more trades because I had a lot of players that were not only underperforming, but then we're going to have like really kind of crappy playoff schedules.
Yeah. I don't. Inky, if you want in, I could add you in right now. If you have Instagram, hit me up on Instagram, Joe Morley Sports. Send me a message right now. I'll send you a link. We'll get you signed in because we're about to start in about 30 seconds. So
yeah, I want Inky to be part of this.
We'll get you in right now.
But yeah, so I think one of the things that I was thinking about when I was really having that like conversation with myself last year was like, I put in so much time and preparation and like really looking at stuff and offense. Like last year was the most involved I was ever in like my pre-draft fantasy process.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that always worked for me before was that I didn't do too much research, but I would always sort of look to see like who had 2 home games as opposed to 1 home game or whatever during that playoff stint, especially with like quarterback or running back or one of those positions. Yeah. And I would kind of like base picks on stuff like that. And last year I was just like, no, I'm just picking the best possible teams or the best possible players. And then I ended up with a bunch of guys that were just crappy and had bad playoff schedules.
Yeah, I don't know how much I put into the playoff schedule, Tony, to be honest with you. I've done it a couple times, and I've never liked it because I think it messes up my draft strategy. When I go and look, and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to take this player because of the schedule and I don't like his matchup, but then I miss out on a great player. So I don't. Now my strategy is just to pick the best player and the guy that I feel more comfortable with. Like his schedule, don't like his schedule. I'm not really worried about it anymore. I'm just picking who I feel comfortable with.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, Inky, if I can't reach you outside of here, we're gonna have to start the draft.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Boda was in the war zone of attrition, won by our friend Scotty last year, and he said that he wants to forget it. What happened last year? Same old sports. What's up, man? How you doing? It's been a while.
Discord is where I can be reached.
I don't have Discord.
I don't either.
I'm old.
All right. Well, let's figure out which. You gotta have some overlapping social media, Facebook, Twitter, something. Smoke signals. We'll figure
Anybody
it
else
out.
that's following right now that wants to get in real quick, let me know. Send your link, and then we're gonna start up. We have 4 open spots at the moment. We'll let the computer take it over in a minute. 4 open spots. But yeah, Mike told us that we should be talking about N'Keal Harry going to the Bears, right? So does that help Jacoby Myers? Because now Mike is all happy about Jacoby Myers.
So I saw that. I don't think N'Keal Harry was ever going to be factored into the plan this year, no matter what. And this just seemed like classic Belichick, right? Where it's like, I have this first round pick. He's not going to be part of our team. He might not even make the roster this year. We're going to cut him. We're not really going to get as much as we could. Maybe like now they trade him. I don't know what they traded him for, but it just seems like Belichick is just getting the most that he can for somebody that he knows is not going to be a factor on his team.
Inky, Boda's going to take care of you. So if you want to give him your information, we'll get you on there. Thanks, Boda. Why are we excited about Mr. One Career Touchdown?
Well, I don't think that Mike is necessarily – I think it was a joke from Mike, but Jacoby Myers was already – if I was going to have a Patriot on my team, which I probably won't have any Patriots unless I take like a really late round dart throw on Tyquan Thornton. And that would only be if I see him getting some action in the preseason, which the Patriots have a tendency to do that. They did that with Ramondre Stevenson last year. Remember, he just was like, this kid's a beast. He's going to be everything. And then you draft him and he doesn't really do anything. And a lot of people dropped him. But I think that Bill gives some of these younger players a shot in the preseason. And when they perform, they will get chances to earn playing time in the regular season. So if Tyquan Thornton shows his ability for his speed to be a weapon, and that's something that they could be unrolling in their game, like they don't have anybody, there's not many players in the league that are as fast as Tyquan Thornton, let alone the Patriots having one of them. So that could be a new, I fell for the Stevenson. I was there for it. I was on that train, made a couple videos about it last year, drafted him on like 4 teams.
Yeah, it worked out for him, he said, in week 1, and that's about it.
Stevenson had a couple good weeks last year. But that's the thing we always have with the Patriots. It's one of the things that makes me cautious about drafting your Raiders this year is I just think that people who come from that system, they don't play like, hey, the best guy, this person's they're gonna get the rock a bunch. Like we're just gonna force feed them. It's like, what is the best play against this look? Make the right decision. Everybody out here is capable of making plays. Yeah, the Raiders.
Oh, the Raider Nation.
Like here's the thing, Joe. If I was in the coach of the Raiders, wouldn't you just like run Josh Jacobs into the ground this year? Like if you don't plan on signing him next year, wouldn't you give him like 300 carries?
And I think there's something about that because Derek Carr's talking about. All right, Inky just said we're going to start, so we'll start right now. But yeah, Derek Carr said something about he's excited to see Josh Jacobs. So I think they're going to give him the rock enough. But yeah, I don't think they're going to. I think Josh Jacobs is on his way out. So let's do this. Starting the draft. Football therapist on the board, Christian McCaffrey. I thought he was going to do it. Jonathan Taylor, of course, has been the number one pick in every one of our drafts so far, and the consensus number one fantasy football player this year in the Indianapolis offense.
But like going in, are you thinking to yourself like like, oh, I'm going to draft Damian Harris here. I'm going to draft Stevenson or Jacoby Myers or either one of the tight ends. Like, it's the Patriots all over again. They don't have a Julian Edelman and they don't have a Rob Gronkowski. So I don't know that I will have any Patriots on any of my fantasy teams this year.
Yeah. I don't know, but a lot of teams have gone to that running back by committee thing, Tony. So there's not so many teams that have a number one running back.
Yeah.
So you're kind of iffy on about 20 NFL teams. You're kind of iffy on now. I'm like, there's Christian McCaffrey auto draft to Johnny. Hopefully some of these people start waking up. We did tell them that we're going to start at 4. We had a couple of difficulties waiting on people to join. So I know a lot of people were on and off, but we'll get them back on here as it goes. And once it starts auto drafting, it's going to go a little bit quicker. But it gives us some time. Christian McCaffrey, Tony, you going with him? You staying away from him?
For me, McCaffrey is I'm probably not going to get him unless he's there for me at like 7, like 6 or 7. Like
sitting on that back half.
Well, my top 3 running backs are Taylor, Henry, Najee Harris. So at that point, then I'm probably going Dalvin Cook. Nick Chubb, maybe. Nick Chubb seems to become, to me, more and more tempting every single day.
Oh, there goes your boy Austin Eckler. That was quick by Same Old Sports.
Yeah.
Are you guys touching any Giants player in fantasy? I'm touching Saquon Barkley if I can get him in the probably 3rd round. If I can get him in the 3rd round, that's where I'll feel comfortable with them.
For Saquon?
Yeah.
Saquon for me is going to be very tempting if I'm drafting like right before the turn to the 3rd round. Like, let's say I pick number 2 and I do end up getting Derrick Henry or Najee Harris at 3 or whatever in my top 3 selection. If I'm then coming back and drafting at 22 through 24, I think it will be very tough to pass up on Saquon at that spot. Because even though I have an early pick in the 3rd round, I still might be able to get, wide receiver, potential quarterback, like maybe early in that 3rd round. If I'm in a league where people wait on quarterback, maybe Allen, Herbert, or Mahomes is still there early in the 3rd. And it's like, okay, I could start looking in that direction.
So I went DeAndre Swift, the guy who I put on the thumbnail today, and that's my fantasy breakout player. He was pretty good last year, but he has the potential to be a top 3 fantasy running back this year. So DeAndre Swift is my guy. Same Old Sports. Tony is on the clock, so he has a hard time talking. Tony can't do 2 things at once. So if you ever see Tony like looking down, he's doing his pick. So leave him alone. Josh Allen, the first quarterback off the board to the computer. So it's looking like we're getting a little bit more realistic picks with some of these computer picks, Tony.
Yeah. Which it's nice to see that. Computer went Dalvin Cook. If you get Dalvin Cook at 9, that's a steal. Joe Mixon, I like that at number 10. Computer takes Jamar Chase. They come back around. 11, who already had a receiver, doubles up on receiver. 10 goes CD to Mixon, and then double up on running back at 9, Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb. That's a great start in the 9 spot of your draft. If you could if you could leave the draft in the first 2 rounds with Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb, and you're drafting out of the 9 spot, you got to be feeling really, really good about yourself. Like this to me, Javonte Williams, the talent and potential, I love it. It's fantastic. But Melvin Gordon being there, I just think he's still a very good NFL running back. Like he still can get you, 800 to 1,000 yards, and around the goal line, he's going to be really good. He's going to steal touchdowns. So you're in a tough spot. Ooh, look at Therapist loading up on RBs. See, he took Saquon in that area where I would feel comfortable. He's now got Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, then comes back around and gets Leonard Fournette. Like that's a great start. Even if Saquon is just average, that's still you're looking at great flex plays depending on the matchup.
All right, let's doing this real quick. All right.
It's all good.
But I'm liking what we're seeing right here. Mike Evans in the second round. You and I have always been on the Mike Evans love train. I got you back into him. What, last year or the year before?
I've always loved Mike Evans. I've had him, I don't know, maybe 3 times in the last 6-7 years. On teams that were on fantasy teams that were good, that made deep playoff runs. I don't like it. I don't like drafting Mike Evans before like the 4th round because I kind of feel like I know what it's going to be. So like sometimes I like to take maybe like a bigger risk on somebody who might like really explode. Like last year, the guy that I thought was really going to have a huge year was McLaurin. Fitz ends up getting hurt. It looks a little different.
Yeah. Inky, I like Fournette. I like the way they get him involved in the passing game. But I'm just worried because sometimes the Buccaneers have a game where they only have 5 rushing attempts.
Yeah, this is happening all day, every day. If this guy makes it back to me in the 3rd round right here, guarantee that's my pick. That's just a notification for everybody I'm playing a fantasy league with. Herbert makes it to me in the 3rd round. He's on the board. He's on my roster.
So let me ask you, this is a guy we haven't talked about this offseason that much. Ezekiel Elliott. He went 3rd round in this one. Is that good value?
I think it's great value. I still have Zeke as somebody that I would draft in the middle of this round. Like Zeke is somebody kind of like that I contemplate. Is it better to get my 2nd running back? Is it better for me to get, Zeke or Saquon or maybe even like a Cam Akers, Aaron Jones at that spot as opposed to Tyreek Hill? Right. I went Tyreek in this draft, but I could definitely see myself saying like Zeke at what is that pick? Like essentially pick 19 or 18. I still think he's being paid a lot of money. He's a big part of that offense. He still can catch the ball. He can run the ball between the tackles. The offensive line has improved. Dak's healthy this year. I'm good with Zeke being higher. And if you told me that I was going to get Zeke in the 3rd round, I'd feel great. This roster itself right here, Derrick Henry, Javonte Williams, Ezekiel Elliott. If Javonte isn't a timeshare, and then you might have Zeke in somewhat of more of a 60-40 split with Tony Pollard.
What's good, gentlemen? Trying a triple running back strategy here.
And I like Therapist. I like it. I did that last week. And when the draft ended, I left thinking like if this was my fantasy team, look, like I was going to crush some people with the roster I left last week's draft with.
Well, if you can load up on running backs, what's the one position that always gets hurt is running backs, right? And then by the end of the season, people are always looking for running backs. So it's a pretty smart strategy because even if you don't need them towards the end of the year, you can start trading them.
Yeah, this is where I am just like I'm in no man's land on this
and your
spot
boy Travis
right here.
Just went the pick before you, so I know you're sitting there like, what am I going to do? Oh, there you go. You take the tight end, Kittle.
Yeah.
Michael Pittman, Antonio Gibson. I know a lot of people are saying like get away from Antonio Gibson this year. I don't know, Tony. I'm liking Antonio Gibson. I don't know what it is, but something keeps drawing me towards Antonio Gibson. I'm not drafting him high, but if I can get him right here in the 4th round where somebody just got him, I'm liking that value with Antonio Gibson. And if he doesn't pan out, I mean, what did I give up? A 4th round pick? It's not that bad.
I agree with you. Like Antonio Gibson in the 4th round. So look at this the team 5 went Cooper Kupp, gonna finish probably top 3 in targets, gonna have a great fantasy season. Josh Allen gonna finish top 3 in QBs. And you go, oh well, they didn't get an early running back. They got Cam Akers, who's gonna be in a big time offense, and then Antonio Gibson, who I think will be in an improved offense this year.
So therapists are saying sometimes Gibson has fell to the 7th round in the underdog mock drafts. That's crazy.
Yeah, he would. There's no way in a draft that I'm in that he would go past. Gibson was one of the players I thought about, but I was like, still George Kittle in the 4th round.
And we talked about Carson Wentz last week. I think Carson Wentz benefits Gibson, a guy like Gibson. I think he's going to help him out a lot. Easy money's on that 3rd running back train too.
Who is?
The 3rd one, that's Derrick Henry, Javonte Williams, and Ezekiel Elliott. And then
I think that's a great start to the draft. I may not have gone with Waller in this situation. Because just DK Metcalf is there, and I think the difference between DK Metcalf and the next round of receivers is quite big. Like that's just me personally. So I would have got DK in that spot, but I mean Darren Waller in this offense.
So he says Team 9 is loaded up. Yeah, Team 9 has Cook, Chubb, Connor, and Hall. They went
this is the computer like really kind of raising the premium on the running back spot, because it's like now that I just have Najee Harris.
Yeah. Team 9 says we're going to get running backs and we're going to have that position covered. Don't worry about us.
Yeah, and it's coming up on me, and it's like, well, there's some really good wide receivers that are great to get here in the 5th round. But I also, if I wait on running back until it comes back around to me, that area really starts to thin out. It's like, am I taking Josh Jacobs in the spot? Am I taking Elijah Mitchell, Clyde
Edwards-Helaire? Josh Jacobs because he's gone.
Yeah, there we go. So there's just a lot of question marks there at running back as to where, if I go to wide receiver, this is a player that I absolutely think is going to have a huge season this year.
Yeah.
Because I've said it every single time. Matthew Stafford allows for all receivers to reach their full potential because the guy can sling the rock. But then you read the report where it's like, oh, Matthew Stafford is in constant communication with Allen Robinson. Well, last year he was in constant communication with Cooper Kupp, and look how that worked out. So let's say Kupp is still 1. Now you're getting single coverage, Allen Robinson, the whole time, getting single coverage in that offense where you have to respect the run. It's Allen Robinson going to have a big year.
Now, if I could do this in my real mock draft, Tony, I will be excited. If I could do this pick right here, A.J. Dillon in the 5th round. I will take that.
I do like that. He was somebody I was hoping would come back around, but I get it.
Then who do I want after this?
Yeah, see, this is the issue. This is the thing with like I love having Justin Herbert on my roster, and I'm not going to complain about it, but I definitely am feeling nervous about the running back position on my roster.
So Inky said he likes team number 10. A-Rob in the 5th round is nice. Any of you guys in the Scott Fish Bowl this year? I'm not. I never go out and try to do it. I don't know.
I don't really know what that is or what that's all about, to be honest with you. But I do know people get excited when they get their invites, so that's cool. If Mr. Fish ever wanted to reach out, I would love to participate, but he never has, and I'm never going to reach out to him because I don't care.
Yeah. Mike White, quarterback number 1, 100%. Remember Mike White had his little – no, your boy, Zach Wilson, getting a lot of attention now. He is the GOAT according to some of his teammates. So I don't think we'll be seeing Mike White anymore. DeAndre Hopkins, Tony Tick saying, I don't care about that 6-game suspension. Give me DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I really am good with it. I think coming in, maybe a little sluggish, maybe a little rusty to start week 7, 8, whatever. But as long as he's back and cooking playoff time, he's one of the best wide receivers. He'd be a top 3 pick. So now that I can, for the first 6 weeks, that I can start Allen Robinson and Tyreek Hill. And then when he is back, my lineup would essentially be Allen Robinson or DeAndre Hopkins in my flex every week.
Yeah.
Like one of those two right there. So it's like, even though I was complaining about running backs and the rest of it, am I going to try and force Clyde Edwards-Helaire there? Or what's the big deal if I just wait on, some of these other running backs that are a little behind it? Or maybe CEH slips into the 7th round and he's still there. I don't think that he will, but maybe he does.
So same old sports likes D-Hop in the 6th round. Inky
well, he
says
better. He took Alvin
Kamara
with a 6-game suspension in the 2nd round.
So let's see. Therapist trying to add more to his team. He took the 3 running backs, then he took the DJ Moore, and he has Lamar Jackson. What do you think Therapist goes next? Wide receiver?
Yeah. It looks like wide receiver. I don't know who's he's too smart to go tight end. So I'm gonna say that he goes with I don't know, maybe Drake London or Juju. Did he go yet? No?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I think 3
money. Drake London or Juju. Let's see how. Let's see. Oh, he took Bateman.
He takes the stack right there, the old running back wide receiver stack, right, Joe?
Yeah, and sometimes that works. You get the double touchdowns, right?
I'm just giving Lamar Jackson a hard time because I know Joe.
Well, did you see that they're by ESPN players and personnel and front office? Did you see Lamar Jackson didn't even make the top 10 list?
Yeah.
The other day.
I don't know. We're going to talk about that on Nuts and Bolts on Friday because I'm not a fan of anonymous voting. I don't like it. If you're going to put out a list like this and you're credentialed, you should have to put your name on it. You can't just do I polled 50 players and coaches and whatever, and then they're just putting out this list. It's like, no, I want to know who the 50 people are, or at least make say, hey, 25 of you have to kind of be visible and stand by this. I just don't like knowing, and obviously I'm a little upset about some of the Chargers where it says not even ranked inside the top 10. And I'm like, what do you talk? I want to know the person who said that this guy is not top 10. Please tell me who it is.
And same old sports said he's surprised that Dak was put in the top 10. We did our top 10 quarterbacks, and I thought we did pretty well. We gave Lamar his love. We didn't put him in the top 5, but we gave him top 10 love.
Oh, man, I don't want to do this, Joe.
So Tony's on the clock. You've already taken a quarterback. You've taken a tight end. You're going to need a running back.
I know, but I just like, why do I have to force it right here?
Someone told me Kurt over Lamar, not fantasy, in regular football.
I was so mad. Someone told me Kirk. So the Inky, that's a weird. Like, was it just for 1 year? For the next year? Are we talking about a 5-year span or whatever? Because if we're talking longevity, I might land on the Kirk Cousins side, because I'm not a big believer in mobile quarterbacks having extended primes of their career. The older you get, you become way more susceptible to injury, and the more injuries you have, the more it takes away from your athleticism. So, like, if you told me just for the year 2022, I want Lamar Jackson. But if you told me I have to sign this quarterback and they're going to be with me through 2028, I might go with Kirk Cousins. I at least know he's going to be there.
Yeah.
And he's good.
2 Buffalo Bills. That was crazy.
You took 2 Buffalo Bills. I was about to take your boy. I thought about it, Joe, because I know how much you've had James Cook in every one of these drafts, and I really did think about like swooping down and scooping your boy. Yeah, for the upcoming season, Lamar Jackson, no question asked.
Hunter Renfrow already went. I thought about taking Hunter Renfrow, but I don't know. A lot of people are saying Gabe Davis. A lot of hype around Gabe Davis this offseason. You like the Buffalo Bills offense without losing their offensive coordinator? Oh, sorry. I know you're on the clock.
Yeah. I heard what you said, but I couldn't fully process it.
We got 13 seconds. Tony going to go. Let's see what Tony takes, guys. Come on, Tony. Chase Edmonds, the Miami running back. Tony, somebody's asking, how do you feel about Isaiah Spiller?
I love Isaiah Spiller, and I think he's going to fit in really well with the Chargers football team. Just when you go back and you watch him, he's playing in the SEC with an offensive lineman where I think Kenyon Green is the only one that's NFL talent. He was a first rounder, but the rest of them, I'm not sure if those guys are playing in the NFL or going to make the NFL at some point or whatever. He's getting hit a lot, like at or near the line of scrimmage, making, still being able to make big plays, makes plays in the passing game. I think for fantasy purposes, he's definitely worth a draft pick, right? Like especially if you have Austin Eckler, but maybe even if you don't, like I could see a scenario in which in games where the Chargers, maybe they're playing the Jaguars, and it's like, well, we'll start Isaiah Spiller this week because maybe Spiller gets 7-8 carries in the fourth quarter of a game. They're trying to run the clock out.
So I'm talking about Gabe Davis, and I took him in the 8th, and therapists are saying he's seen him go as high as 4th round in some drafts.
Yeah, that's a little much for me. But yeah, I'm a Gabe Davis fan. I think I drafted him in a league last year, and he just never hit. He ended up getting dropped around, bye weeks start creeping in. But he's good. Johnny Talk Sports just took Alan Lazard. He was somebody I was hoping might fall back around here.
So here's a tidbit. I haven't taken a quarterback yet, right? And I thought about taking a quarterback the last 2 rounds, and I was like, but then I look and I go, okay, how many other teams have taken quarterbacks? This is something that you should be doing when you're drafting. You should be kind of keeping track of the other teams I know we're all focused on our team, but you should be focused on some of the other teams as well to know, like, okay, these guys have already taken quarterbacks, so they're not really going to look quarterback. Like when we were looking at your team the last 2 rounds, Tony, we were like, Tony needs to take running back. It would have surprised if you didn't take a running back. So, guys, when you're doing your drafts, kind of be aware of what other people are drafting. You don't have to be focused in on them because you're going to lose a little bit on yours. But just be aware of what they're drafting. Like, I know that there's, two other teams or one other team that hasn't drafted a quarterback. There's 2, and then plus me. So I need to take a quarterback, and they need one. But there's still enough options out there where I'm like, okay, I could wait.
Yeah, no, I think that is definitely a good strategy. If there's somebody that you think is better than those players, and you're at a position like where you're at the turn, I wouldn't let it pass me this time. You know what I'm saying?
I say that now, and then Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers just go off the board to a team.
Exactly, but like if we were in a real draft and it got to that point, I probably wouldn't let somebody get by me on that side. Like right here. Like if you would have had your choice from Rodgers, Brady, and Stafford, I think you got to take the one at this spot.
Well, I was going to take Stafford over Brady and Rodgers 2 rounds ago. So it worked out for me to hold on.
Yeah.
Here's another guy I think I've taken in every draft, Tony, is Dotson from Washington.
Yeah, I like I like Jahan Dotson to be able to transition quite nicely to the NFL and also to play second fiddle to Terry McLaurin. Maybe not right away. Like if Curtis Samuel's back, you might lean on the consistency of a veteran and just sort of knowing the offense and, you know, the concepts and whatever else. But once he gets the hang of it, I could see Dotson being a factor at some point there. Just do a quick little scroll through here. I see Damian Pierce, the guy that I like, went in the 9th round to your boy Alberto.
I don't understand why people draft 3 tight ends. I don't either. Well, you got to remember, Inky, there's a bunch of different leagues out there, and we have one that we do tight end premium, so people always try to load up on tight ends. But if you're just doing a standard draft where tight ends are normal points, yeah, you shouldn't be loading up on tight ends, especially when there's only 3 or 4 good ones, and then you're taking shots after that.
Yeah, this is the earliest I drafted a tight end, and I usually have a thing where if one of the 3 or 4 tight ends that I really like is in that 4th round, I will take them.
Tony took the Christian Kirk, the guy who screwed up the wide receiver pay market this offseason.
I think he elevated it. I want to applaud Christian Kirk for signing that mega deal after we got our boy Mike Williams. Congratulations to Christian Kirk getting all the bags. He didn't get a bag. He got all the bags down there in Jacksonville. But I just think I consistently get Christian Kirk in the 9th round or later. Yeah. And if that's the case, he'll be on every single one of my teams, Joe. Every team, if he's in the 9th round. I just have to believe that you're down there and you give him that money. You have the veteran Marvin Jones and then Christian Kirk. I think Christian Kirk is getting the bulk of the work. I think he's playing, 85% of the snaps, and he's getting 7, 8, 9 targets a week in that offense. The thing that I do fear a little bit is maybe they run the ball, maybe they play a little bit slower and they try to play really good defense because they've really focused on loading up that defense. But
everybody's giving Kirk Cousins some love in the chat right now. Kirk Cousins is building a lot of momentum this offseason because of the offense that they're going to run. It's supposed to be more pass happy, getting everybody involved. So I understand. And Kirk Cousins is not a horrible quarterback, guys. He's not a horrible quarterback. He's good.
No.
He's not elite, but he's good. And same old sports just took him in the 10th round for a team that didn't have a quarterback. So he that's a good value right there. I think it is. Tony convinced me on Isaiah Spiller.
Tony, damn you, SOS. I was like, Isaiah Spiller is going to make it back to me. This is going to be great. And then I'm like looking down at my phone, and it's and he pops in there. That would hurt a little bit.
That's why you can't say nothing, Tony. You give it away, and people take it.
So this is somebody that I think I'm going to go this route. Let me just double check and make sure. No, I don't need any of those. So last year we were all hyped on this guy right here, but I think with the departure of Christian Kirk and the suspension of DeAndre Hopkins, I think he's worth drafting. At least for the first 6 weeks. Like, they're going to have to throw the ball somewhere. You brought in Hollywood Brown. You got Rondell Moore as a high draft pick from the year before, second year in the offense. And you can get him in the 11th round? Why not? And I got D-Hop in the 6th round. So then maybe I can Rondell Moore get a few big weeks out of him, and then have a little trade bait because he'll get more playing time at the top of the year. I like this Rachaad White pickup, not for the beginning of the year, but if you're patient, I think Rachaad White could be getting some snaps if he can earn Brady's trust. Like both of those selections, Joe.
Let's see. Oh, you're talking about Christian Kirk. I was a Rondell Moore truther all last year, says Boda. He loved Rondell Moore. But that was the thing with Arizona last year. Remember, one wide receiver go off. Then the next week, the different wide receiver. But I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to us on the mock drafts. I'm with the fade the Arizona Cardinals, Tony. Fade the Cardinals. Don't draft any Arizona Cardinals and stay away from them.
I appreciate Boda because he's still riding this Granison train, this tight end from Indy. They drafted Jelani Woods. Jelani is the dude. He's the guy that you want there. Okay, so there's running backs here that I'm looking at. It's like I could take Marlon Mack, even though I believe Damian Harris is better. I like Kenneth Gainwell is worth a shot. I think that the Tyrion Davis-Price, or however you say his name, for the Niners is interesting at this spot. I'm going to go here. I think this will start to get some more love as the preseason goes on with DJ Chark.
DJ Chark. I thought about taking him as well when I took Jarvis Landry earlier. I think he's going to have a good – I think people are going to underestimate Detroit a little bit. They started to show some life last year, and they're going to be pretty good this year.
Yeah.
Kenny Golladay, giant, right off the board right there.
Yeah, and so as the draft wraps up, part of the reason that, like, here's my thought process on going with another wide receiver there is because I'm probably going to play 3 wide receivers in most of my setups in fantasy, right? I usually tend to err on the side of wide receiver for my flex spot, especially if they're in a spot where they're getting opportunity. If I know going into the game, Ahmad St. Brown is not there, and whoever else the Lions have, Jamison Williams, is a little nicked up, he would get the edge into like a flex spot that week if I thought he was going to get a lot of targets. But when you come back around, it's like Marlon Mack, he could be a starter in Houston. Gainwell could earn a starting job in Houston. I still could have in the 13th round had a shot at a flex style back like J.D. McKissick. Raheem Mostert, I could have paired with Chase Edmonds for Miami. Gus Edwards is still there. Price, go get the handcuff. Go get Chuba Hubbard, who played okay when CMC was out. Now he's in year 2. It's a little bit better. I guess my point is that there's still worthwhile shots to take in rounds 13 and 14 on running back.
Yeah. I'm looking at Therapist's team, Tony, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And just the last couple of rounds from – even if you go from Bateman all the way down, so the last 6 rounds, he took some guys that are, I would think, boom or bust, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Bateman could be a top guy, right? CEH, we've been waiting for him to break out. I know that you were on the CEH train last year as well.
I still am.
Chris Olave, you like everything that we've read about him or heard about him this offseason has been good. Russell Gage going with Tom Brady. Cole Kmet, a new offense, might be going to the tight end a lot. Kadarius Toney showed signs of being great last year with the new offensive coordinator. He could be something. And then my guy Irv Smith, who got hurt, now coming back in that high-powered offense, could be. Those are 6 guys that he took that all could be boom or bust and win him a league right there.
Yeah, I do think that he definitely he's smart about his dart throws, right? Like I could see a scenario in which Chris Olave is getting the most targets on the Saints by the end of the year, right? I could see a scenario in which Kadarius Toney pushes out as the number 1 receiver for the Giants. So those are 2 really good throws. Russell Gage is in a really good spot to earn some nice, regular work with Tom Brady. Like Godwin comes back, maybe Godwin's a little more in the slot, and Evans is still like getting targets. But if Tom Brady trusts you, Russell Gage is in a prime spot to be a solid contributor. Cole Kmet, I want Cole Kmet to be good. I don't know how that's going to work out. I fear for the Bears. A lot of people keep trying to tell me the Bears are going to be better than I think. I just don't see it. You just don't lose that much talent. All of a sudden, it's like, you trade away and you lose all this talent and you get better, see? And I was like, what kind of math is that? Like, it doesn't make sense. So it's a good squad. I would feel really good about having this team if I was Therapist.
Are you happy with your team?
Not as much as I was last time, right? Because I think that I have. I talked about how I wouldn't draft Patriots, and then I drafted the Patriots backfield. I drafted Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson. I believe Chase Edmonds is a guy that is undervalued and also was heavily targeted by that new regime in Miami. Like as soon as free agency opened up, they were like, hey, Chase Edmonds, come down to Miami and, come get some of this palm trees, sunshine, a bunch of this money and come play in my system. So I do think that he's got a good shot to be down there playing the read option, people having to respect the speed of Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, that I think Chase Edmonds could have a solid year. And in the 8th round, if I'm getting a guy that finishes inside the top 20 in the 8th round, I feel really great about it. Love it. And then just a lot of like the players that I like that I think, like I said, I think Christian Kirk is a number 1 wide receiver. DJ Chark, veteran on a 1-year deal, has a chance to gel with Jared Goff. And then I'm loaded at wide receiver. I got the MVP quarterback, Justin Herbert, and George Kittle being the security blanket for a young Trey Lance. So a good team. I don't like it as much as the team I had last week where I was really top heavy at running back.
Yeah, it looks like a solid, pretty team. I'd be, happy going into the season with that. Johnny Talk Sports is happy that he got Deshaun Watson in the 12th round. Johnny, what would you be drafting Deshaun Watson for? Like, I understand the talent of when he's playing, but what are you drafting him for? Like, are you expecting him to come back at the end of the season and maybe have a playoff run with them? Because even like, say he gets a 12-game suspension. Say that the least that they give him is a 12-game suspension. Fantasy football playoffs usually start week 13, week 14. And he hasn't played with his team at all, and he's going to have to come in. Are you going to trust him for fantasy football playoffs if you have him? That's the reason I'm staying away from Deshaun Watson, because you don't know. It could be a 4-game suspension, could be a year-long suspension. But if you want to take that shot on him, you're not giving it. I mean, you gave up a 12th round pick, but I don't know what you're drafting him for. That's the only question that I would have for that.
Let me say this, Joe. If we know, and we will know before we really start drafting, if you've drafted already, it's a huge mistake. I did it last year. It's a bad idea. But if you draft before even like the middle of August, so let's say that Deshaun Watson, we know that he has a 12-game suspension. I think drafting somewhere around the 12th round is where you should be looking at him. If he's only got a 4-game suspension, there's no way that you get him in the 12th round. So, like, the reason that Deshaun Watson is where he's at is because the ADP on these things are all messed up because a lot of people are just passing on him. We don't know what the situation is, but the NFL sooner or later is going to have to give us some information. When they do, we will have an accurate wherever. So getting him in the 12th round, sure, it could be strong if he's only got a 4-game suspension. But you could also just be wasting a pick on another player that you could have had.
And that's the same thing that's going on with Alvin Kamara, right? That's why he's dropping so much or in the second round, because we don't know where his suspension is. But his won't be as bad, I don't think. Yeah, and Johnny's saying it could be 0. Johnny, if the NFL does not suspend Deshaun Watson at any games, I don't want to see what happens.
I don't know. I don't want to get into that, but yes, I agree. No, to some extent.
Inky says that I like Joe's team, by the way, to be honest, or to be aged. So I'm just saying I like my team too, Inky.
You tell your cousin Inky to stay off these chat.
I don't know who he is, never met him, but I like Inky. He's my new best friend. But I took DeAndre Swift. I told you, if I'm in the back end of the draft in the first end round, I would probably I don't know how Cook made it all the way to number 8 in this draft. I would have took Cook. I've taken Cook at number 2 before, right, Tony? So I like Cook. But DeAndre Swift, I feel comfortable taking anywhere after 6 this year. So I got him at 12. I like it. I took number 1 tight end Travis Kelce just to end that one because I was afraid of what tight ends were going to come back. I hate taking tight ends that early, Tony. But with Travis Kelce, I think you got to kind of do it right. I think he's going to be more I don't know how much more productive he could be in this offense, but he's going to be I think Patrick Mahomes is going to go to him even more at the beginning of the season because it's the one wide receiver he could trust or tight end that he could trust, right? I took your boy Keenan Allen because he's always been consistent. Jalen Waddle, what he did last year, now with Tyreek Hill there, he could probably possibly get some more. I like A.J. Dillon. We talked about that when I took that one. I'm a little iffy about my running back situation. That's where this team is a little iffy. Adam Thielen not getting as much love, but everybody's like Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson going to have a great year. Well, why wouldn't Adam Thielen have a great year, right? James Cook, Gabe Davis, we talked about him. Matthew Stafford's my quarterback. Dodson, Henderson. What happens if Cam Akers doesn't go down or doesn't live up to who they're going back with? And then Jarvis Landry, I like what he's doing and the reports down there. I think my running back position will be the one that's iffy for me right there, Tony.
Yeah, the running back position is a little because you have 3 handcuffs and 1 starter. So again, and this has been a trend for you in all your drafts, is that you haven't drafted one team that's been like strong at running back because you are getting a lot of great wide receivers.
Yeah.
But like, if any of these 3 are good, you've got the ability to go trade for somebody else who might be a player that might be popping, that maybe didn't start the year off super hot. But But you got locked in starters at wide receiver. I like that you waited for Stafford. I think Stafford. You know what's crazy is like he's talking about how he didn't really know the offense that well and have command of it and whatever else. Like, and I think we saw that as the season went on. He got better, especially in the playoffs. The football he played against the Bucks, you know, at certain spurts in the Super Bowl there. A couple of those drives against the 49ers, against some really good defenses.
Yeah.
Now he's had an entire offseason there, and they're bringing in Allen Robinson. It's
and the coaching staff knows them a little bit more, where they seen a whole year of what works with them, what doesn't. I know we're getting close to the end of the show, Tony, but I saw something that was pretty funny, and I think I'm going to back this one because I think it's great. It's a great idea. It says that for online drafts, ESPN, Yahoo, all those sleeper, everybody should put fake names in their NFL draft or in the fantasy draft. So when you're doing a draft and you have somebody that never does their research and they draft some guy like Tony Tucker, wide receiver, Dallas Cowboys, and then they go, "Hey, wait, there is no Tony Tucker on there." Well, yeah, you should have done your research, Tony. That's your starting wide receiver.
That is funny. I think that would be good. Last year we had a guy, and I told you about this, in the league that I've been in forever with all my friends back from the Midwest. We had somebody who drafted J.K. Dobbins and like stood up and celebrated. And because we were drafted, there was like 4 of us in the room, and the rest of the guys that are still in the Midwest are on Skype. And he celebrated the pick. And we were like, did this dude not hear the news that the Dobbins injury had happened earlier that day? Like literally about 58 minutes before the draft kicked off, they announced Dobbins' injury is serious. He's out for the year. And he was the only one. And he gets up there and he's being all cocky and whatever. And then the next round, I go through and I get Gus Edwards because I was just like looking around. I'm like, well, I'm not going to say anything because I was hoping Gus would fall to me. I got Gus in the 5th round, and then Gus blows out his knee too. And it's like, yeah. All right. I guess we're going with Justice Hill or whoever.
Yeah, whoever it was last year.
There was the young man. Same old sports. He's been here the whole time. I want to take a look at his team because I think that he did do a nice job. Like, depending on the Alvin Kamara suspension, you got Eckler, Kamara, Dobbins bounces back into a good rushing offense. Then wide receiver-wise, I like getting Michael Thomas and Drake London.
Yeah.
One of those players, and Cortland Sutton in that 5 to 7 range. One of these players should emerge and be just like a weekly consistent. Here we go. I'm putting it in there. You know, and it could be maybe start the season. It could be could be Michael Thomas, and then move on as you start to see the cohesion grow with Cortland Sutton and Drake London in their situations. You got a rookie, but then you got another guy with a new QB. And then I like how he went with Dawson Knox because Dawson Knox scares me only for this. OJ Howard is super talented, and if he ever figures it out, I don't know how you get him off the field. He's so big and fast and strong. So I think maybe like a timeshare there, but then he drafts Alberto, which I think is good. And he gets Spiller as the handcuff to Eckler, which is a nice drafting move. And he gets Kirk Cousins, who is one of the QBs that I am waiting for, Joe. If I'm waiting in drafts, Kirk Cousins, getting Kevin O'Connell there, I think this offense is, I think we could be looking at Kirk Cousins like 39, 40 touchdown passes, having like a real big year.
Yeah, and it's not like he's throwing a lot of picks. He didn't throw a lot of picks last year, so it could turn out. Yeah, if you're going to be high on the Minnesota offense, you have to be high on Kirk Cousins, right?
Yeah. So I think I like the team that he put together. Appreciate it. Boda's been here the whole time. Do we look at Boda's team yet?
Where's Boda's team?
Boda went with Devontae Adams.
Great pick.
Yeah, we can agree to disagree.
Oh, but he got the stack with Derek Carr.
He did get the stack there. This squad, Mark Andrews, I just feel like consistent doesn't matter. Even when Huntley was in there, he was still playing good. Terry McLaurin's one of my favorites. I think he could have like 1,400 yards this year. So he waits. He gets Etienne and Elijah Mitchell. I think Elijah Mitchell is the real deal. If he stays healthy, you got yourself a number one running back in the 5th round. Etienne is going to be interesting how they deploy. I like Rashad Penny more than most people do. But
you should be high on the Rashad Penny, but you got to wait for that injury.
Yeah, that's the thing that scares me. Is like I've had Rashad Penny in years past just thinking like, all right, here we go. And he'll have a couple of good runs in a game. And I go, next week they're going to give him the ball a bunch. And he gets injured, practice or game or whatever, and he's out. And Jalen Hurts in the 6th round, I think that's a good area to pounce on Jalen Hurts. I might even go the 5th round, like if I was feeling real saucy.
I know, but
I think a big year for him.
I just get so many heart attacks with Jalen Hurts.
Yep, and Sky Moore. I think Sky Moore is going to be late season. We're going to see Sky Moore like take off in the offense. I think beginning of the year, keep it rolling. Maybe run the ball a little bit more. Travis Kelce, work the middle of the field. Juju, stuff like that. Take some deep shots to MVS, and then keep integrating Sky Moore into the offense.
Well, I think it was a successful mock draft. I think adding some of these computer teams and a couple of the auto drafts kind of helped us out to see a little bit better of the ADP of some of these guys. And it's different, Tony. Like every draft has been a little bit different to see who falls, and I'm liking it, and I'm learning each draft.
Well, I'll be honest with you right now. So like Team 9, I really liked where the draft was going for the longest time because I think Mike Williams has the ability to be top 10 wide receiver. He's going in the 6th round. Marquise Brown is in a good situation. For 6 weeks, he's going to be the number 1. They load up on running back. Cook, Nick Chubb, James Conner, Breece Hall in the first 4 rounds. Elijah Moore, fine. I'm not drafting him, but fine. But then why would the computer pick Russell Wilson and Tom Brady? Like, this is what I don't like about artificial intelligence. You can only start one of these guys, and you already got Russell Wilson. So why wouldn't you go back and get a wide receiver in this area? Like, you could have drafted Robert Woods, Jahan Dotson, Christian Kirk. I know I'm the only person who likes Christian Kirk, but come on. Like, get another wide receiver.
But I think they did good with the wide receivers at the end of the draft, too, with Gallup and Boyd.
Yeah, definitely did. But just drafting Tom Brady there is like a waste of a pick.
Yeah, but Tom Brady in the 9th round that you could make some trades with when you get loaded up.
You could, but like, what are you really gonna like? What team are you gonna trade with? Like, you'd have to have an injury. It'd have to be like Jimmy G comes back and Albert's team, Trey Lance doesn't play and he needs a QB. So now he's trading you what, like Tom Brady for Dameon Pierce, Khalil Herbert. Maybe you could get Kareem Hunt out of him, depending on the health of Nick Chubb. Like, you're just you're banking on injuries from other teams, and I just don't like to live that way. It's negative, Joe.
Team 11 has Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers.
Well, that again, Team 11. I didn't say that I like that team. But Inky's in here. Inky's in here trying to become my family now too, because Inky's got my back on this one. He's like, OJ Howard is so good, and he also likes Christian Kirk. So now Inky's like trying to fam up with me after he was in here blowing smoke about your draft.
Yeah, Inky,
which was
you
okay.
Can't be jumping back and forth. You pick a side, Inky. You pick a side.
Yeah, Morley's a little rusty. You don't gotta worry about Morley. Don't let the size scare you. He's nothing.
All right. Well, we already hit the hour mark, Tony. You got any last words for this?
No, I don't.
Appreciate everybody who joined us, who commented, talked along with us, who participated. If you guys want to participate in the mock draft, Inky, I know you might have Mike's Discord. Get a hold of Mike and he can get it. Let us know as well. But just hit us up on Instagram, hit us up on any social media that you find us on, and we'll try to get you guys involved in these next couple of mock drafts. Same old sports. It's always great to see you. I'm glad you had a great time. Yeah, if you choose NFL Mike, then I choose Mike over us too, so it's okay.
Wait, people choosing NFL? Get out. Mike, I know Mike's not here to defend himself, so I'm fully going to push him in front of the bus. Mike ain't got nothing on us. Mike, weak.
Mike will tell you the greatest player in NFL history is
NFL Mike doing TikTok dances somewhere. That's what Mike's doing. He's not putting in the work to help you get better with your fantasy teams like we are. Okay. Oh, Inky's a Bolts fan. There we go.
No, I don't like Inky now. So
Inky is fam. I didn't even know he was fam. Now I know for sure that Inky and I get along. I'm just sitting here loving my last draft, and I'm comparing it to the week before. This team is just outside of quarterback. This team I drafted the week before is just hands down better. But we'll do that another time. Maybe we'll get on and we'll compare. We can go through and compare what our favorite roster was because we have all these mock drafts saved. We can go through it and we'll do it. I'm half Bolts fan, half what? Half amazing?
Don't
break my heart. Yeah, don't even break my heart and say something foolish like, well, my grandma, she's from Minnesota, so I'm also a Vikings fan and a Chargers fan. Don't break my heart like that.
What if he's a half Bolts fan, half Rams fan?
Get ready to hang up on it. Get ready to end this episode, Joe, because you know for a fact this is going to be disappointing. So let's just end the show with Inky making the announcement that he's half Bolts fan, half what? Inky, drum roll.
Inky,
here it is.
I'm half Bolts fan. Come on, Inky, we got to end the show with it. What is it? Half Bolts, half.
Oh my God!